If you look back to the 1990s, Malaysia was once seen as one of Asia's rising stars. Alongside Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, it was part of a dynamic region of the world called the Asian Tigers. These nations were rewriting the rules of development, moving from poverty to prosperity in a single generation. Malaysia, with its rapidly growing industries, expanding infrastructure, and booming exports, was expected to join that club. It had everything: a strategic location, abundant natural resources, and an English-speaking population. The country was growing fast, nearly 9% GDP growth annually in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Kuala Lumpur was modernizing at lightning speed, with projects like the Petronas Twin Towers symbolizing ambition and progress. But then, things slowed down. The 1997 Asian financial crisis hit Malaysia hard. Growth stalled, the ringgit plunged, and investor confidence took a hit. While countries like South Korea and Taiwan bounced back stronger than ever, Malaysia struggled to regain its pre-crisis momentum. 2 decades later, Malaysia remains a middle-income nation. Stable, yes, but still short of the tiger status it once aimed for. So the big question today is, can Malaysia become the next Asian tiger again? To answer that, we have to look at both sides: the potential that gives Malaysia an edge and the challenges that continue to hold it back. Why Malaysia has the potential to rise again? When people talk about Southeast Asia's future, Malaysia doesn't always dominate the headlines. But that's exactly what makes it interesting. Because beneath the radar, Malaysia has quietly built one of the most balanced and adaptable economies in the region. Let's start with location, Malaysia's greatest natural advantage. The country sits right along the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Roughly 40% of global trade, including most of China's oil imports, passes through this narrow waterway. This makes Malaysia an ideal logistics and manufacturing hub. Major ports like Port Klang and Penang Port handle millions of containers every year, connecting Asia to the Middle East, Europe, and beyond. Then there's Penang, a quiet success story. Often called the Silicon Valley of the East, Penang has become a powerhouse for semiconductor and electronics manufacturing. Companies like Intel, AMD, Bosch, and Dell have operated there for decades, drawn by Malaysia's stability, English fluency, and strong engineering talent. In 2023 alone, Malaysia's electrical and electronics exports reached 593 billion ringgit, making it the largest contributor to total exports, around 40% of the country's total trade. Beyond manufacturing, Malaysia's economy is diverse and resilient. Unlike many resource-dependent nations, Malaysia has successfully built a mixed economy. It exports palm oil, petroleum, natural gas, rubber, and electronics, and it's one of the world's largest producers of medical gloves, a product that became globally essential during the pandemic. This diversity gives Malaysia a cushion against shocks, whether in oil prices or global demand. Malaysia also has something many countries would envy: a young, educated, and multilingual workforce. Nearly 70% of the population is under 40, and English proficiency ranks among the highest in Asia, especially in business and education. Add in widespread fluency in Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil, and Malaysia becomes a natural bridge between China, India, and the Western world. This cultural flexibility is something countries like Vietnam or Indonesia are still working toward. Infrastructure is another big win. Malaysia's highways are some of the best in Southeast Asia, and cities like Kuala Lumpur are highly developed, with world-class connectivity. Projects like the MRT, LRT extensions, and the East Coast Rail Link, ECRL, are transforming regional mobility. The Kuala Lumpur-Singapore high-speed rail, if it's revived, could reshape travel and trade across the peninsula, cutting travel time between two major hubs to just 90 minutes. And unlike some neighbors, Malaysia's macroeconomic management has been remarkably consistent. The central bank, Bank Negara Malaysia, is respected for keeping inflation low, around 2.5% on average over the last decade. and maintaining one of the most stable banking systems in Asia. Even during global turbulence, Malaysia has avoided extreme shocks. From a geopolitical standpoint, Malaysia's neutrality and balanced diplomacy have served it well. It maintains strong ties with both China and the United States, benefiting from trade and investment from both sides. As global companies diversify away from China under the China Plus One strategy, Malaysia is one of the biggest winners. In fact, Tesla recently chose Malaysia as its Southeast Asian base, and several global semiconductor players are expanding operations here to avoid overdependence on China. Put simply, the ingredients are all there. Malaysia has location, talent, stability, and resources. It's not hard to imagine it becoming a high-income nation within the next decade. But here's the catch. Potential doesn't guarantee progress. The challenge is holding Malaysia back. For all its strengths, Malaysia faces some very real challenges that continue to slow its climb toward tiger status. Let's start with political instability, arguably the biggest roadblock. In just the last few years, Malaysia has had multiple prime ministers, changing coalitions, and shifting alliances. Investors value certainty, but Malaysia's politics often feel unpredictable. While countries like Singapore and Vietnam have enjoyed decades of stable leadership, Malaysia's frequent changes make it difficult to sustain long-term policies. The result? Great plans often die halfway through, replaced by new ones that start over. This instability spills into economic policy too. One government pushes for new industrialization plans, the next shifts focus to social programs, and another emphasizes environmental goals. Each idea might be good on its own, but without consistency, it's hard to build momentum. Next, we have the issue of racial and economic inequality, a complex legacy that continues to shape Malaysia's growth. The country's greatest strength, its diversity, also creates deep divisions. Policies like the Bumi Putera affirmative action system, designed to uplift the Malay majority after independence, were well-intentioned. They aim to close wealth gaps between ethnic Malays and other groups, particularly Chinese and Indian Malaysians. But over time, these policies also created inefficiencies. Some argue they discourage meritocracy and innovation. Others say they contribute to a brain drain, the loss of skilled professionals seeking fairer opportunities abroad. According to the World Bank, over 1 million Malaysians now live overseas, many of them in Singapore, Australia, and the UK. That's a significant loss of human capital, especially when neighboring Singapore thrives by attracting exactly those same talents. Then there's education, another area of concern. While Malaysia's literacy rate is high and university enrollment continues to grow, employers often say that graduates lack the skills needed in today's tech-driven economy. The World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report has highlighted Malaysia's need to strengthen innovation, R&D, and technical skills training. In simple terms, Malaysia produces plenty of graduates, but not enough inventors. Compare that with South Korea, a country that, in the 1960s, had a smaller economy than Malaysia. South Korea focused relentlessly on education, research, and innovation. Within a few decades, it went from producing textiles to leading global brands like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG. Malaysia, meanwhile, still relies heavily on foreign companies for high-tech manufacturing, assembling components rather than designing them. That's the essence of the middle-income trap Malaysia is stuck in. It's too rich to compete with low-wage economies, but not innovative enough to match high-tech ones. Corruption and bureaucracy are also major obstacles. In Transparency International's 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index, Malaysia ranked 57th out of 180 countries, far behind Singapore, which ranked third, and even below countries like the UAE or South Korea. While Malaysia's governance isn't disastrous, inefficiency and favoritism in certain sectors still slow down investment. Red tape can make it hard for new businesses to thrive, especially startups without political connections. And finally, there's regional competition. Malaysia isn't competing in a vacuum. It's surrounded by fast-growing neighbors. Vietnam is attracting a flood of manufacturing investment thanks to its low labor costs and pro-business government. Indonesia, with over 270 million people, is pushing aggressively into the electric vehicle and tech industries. Even Thailand is revitalizing its industrial base. Malaysia, with just 33 million people, can't rely on size. It has to rely on smart policy, innovation, and human capital. So while Malaysia's foundation is solid, its biggest hurdles are internal: governance, policy consistency, education quality, and social cohesion. The country isn't lacking in talent, it's lacking in alignment. So, can Malaysia become the next Asian tiger again? The answer is absolutely, if it chooses to. Malaysia has everything a tiger needs: location, diversity, infrastructure, stability, and global connections. But these assets only work when they move in the same direction. Political will, unity, and long-term vision will determine whether Malaysia rises again or remains comfortably in the middle. The good news is there are signs of hope. Malaysia is investing in digitalization, clean energy, and high-value industries. Penang's tech boom continues. Kuala Lumpur's skyline grows. Its people are educated, globally minded, and hungry for progress. The challenge now is leadership, not just in politics, but across business, education, and society. Malaysia must dare to make difficult choices, reform outdated policies, reward merit, and invest in innovation. Because if it does, it can absolutely recapture its momentum, not as a copy of Singapore or South Korea or anyone else, but as a uniquely Malaysian success story. In the 1990s, Malaysia dreamed of being an Asian tiger. In the 2020s, it still can be. But this time, the world won't be surprised when it happens. It'll be something everyone saw coming. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with this video? Tell us what you think by leaving your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.